You're listening to the Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, the last pre-Passover sprint, adventures at the airport, recognizing nutty early, and the emotional support worm. Whenever anything goes wrong, look at the tiny stupid thing first if you want to know what really went wrong. That's my new motto. It's never that the car caught fire. It's that somebody left the lights on in the car and whoever tried to charge it did it wrong and then the car caught fire.
And
so today,
what's your little thing?
Today I sat down to do some work and it told me that I needed new batteries in my keyboard. So I changed them and then all of a sudden the mouse didn't work and the whole computer wouldn't work. And you know, this little teeny mouse, it's like a nothing, right? It's a nothing thing. But
by the way,
yes,
mine's dead. Got to use the little touchpad thing. They're made for like young fingers. It takes me like a half hour to get it where I want anything.
Well, I'm glad in a way that nobody could record what was coming out of my mouth while I was trying to fix this so I could record.
I actually was just humming. This was my way of dealing with the extreme frustration. I was going,
I wonder,
as I opened and closed and opened and closed and opened and closed everything.
I wonder if we're getting to the age where we're going to get old people quirks, like humming when we're angry instead of swearing. Like, speaking of things that people have discovered about us, I've gotten like 3 or 4 pictures of people bragging about the fact that they can find matzah and you can't.
I actually got 4 boxes this morning in Flagstaff. So we had to travel an hour, but I have everything I need for our Seder, and I do have plenty of matzah. I got 4 different kinds. The box that we've been eating, I see your eyes rolling because you hate matzah.
Well, that, and also if you were really, really, really strict about it, you don't eat it for a while before because this will make no sense to you. All of the rabbis know that it tastes like wallboard. So in order to encourage you to eat it with an appetite, they make a rule that says you can't have it for a month or so before the actual day on which you're supposed to eat it. And of course, it's kind of horrifying to realize that the extreme religious elders for thousands of years got exactly the logic you have to use on your 2-year-old if you want them to do something. Like you can't have that.
I love it.
Can't
I
have
love
it
matzah.
because you're not normal.
That's true.
But
I was thinking that as I was putting my Doc Martens on this morning to go to the grocery store. And it was one of those, your grandma wears Doc Martens. It's like, yeah.
The idea that our religious experts just knew that we all hated it. And so they used, now, whatever you do, sweetheart, don't give Jimmy that little dump truck to play with. That's all yours. You don't have to share. And then, of course, like, I don't want the stupid dump truck. Here, give it to Jimmy. So that's exactly the matzah logic. You can't have it for a few weeks. You can't have it. And then by the time you actually have it, you think you like it for 2 days.
I did buy a box of croissants that were on sale.
I don't want to hear that either.
I told Eve,
don't tell your Aunt
we
Turi.
have to eat all of these before tomorrow.
Now what's fun is I'm teaching technique to the big cutie because this is going to be his job one day. This is going to sound insane, but if you have stone counters to make them ready for Passover, you pour boiling water on them. But I hadn't realized over the years I've developed like the wrist technique, like slow pitch softball. You develop the technique of how you pour the water so it doesn't end up all over the floor. And I feel as though I am passing along my cultural heritage. And that's weird because really it's just a pot full of boiling water. Nothing about it is cultural. Nothing about it is heritage. It's just like, this is how mom pours boiling water on a counter. And I wonder if when I'm dead, this is the kind of crap they'll remember about me. Not what books I like, not what music I sang to them when they were little. They'll remember the boiling water technique. It's a little bit alarming.
Well, mine are going to learn a box of croissants the day before and mowing them down.
So last night, we spent 2.5 hours in the airport parking lot waiting for the plane of our child to land. You start to realize that all kinds of things depend on your perspective. Takes 5 hours to drive to Indianapolis. Takes 10 minutes for a plane to fly there. Takes 3 hours for them to get a gate where they could conceivably be fueled. And then the pilot can't fly anymore. So my poor big cutie, as many of us have, spent a night in the airport. Before he left, by the way, in Washington, D.C., he got some really lovely footage, not of ice at the airport, but of mice at the airport.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Mice eyes, nice.
He's sending video of the airport, Washington National, I think he flew out of. Anyway, so he got his first experience, I believe, of sleeping on an airport bench, which is a rite of passage for any adult, I think. And he starts kvetching to me, "This is so stupid. This is so unfair." And I'm so old and bitter and mean and not a nice mom. I write back, "Be glad you're in America and people speak English."
I remember the last time that happened to me, and it was because of weather.
Yeah, weather.
And I was trying to get back from Michigan and ended up spending the night in a bar with just about everyone else who was on this plane. And they had a lot of very tipsy passengers when the plane finally got there around noon the next day.
Remember when if they hacked you off, the airline would open up the bar on the plane because they felt bad
Yep.
and they don't do that anymore.
They don't do anything anymore. So I found out, let me tell you
Good
this.
point. Yes.
So I'm flying the same airline, by the way, that you flew,
All the
where
time.
you can only sit in the back 20 rows. And
And I want to add to the
Yeah.
big cutie, he texted, he said, "I'm rebelling. The entire first 20 rows are empty and I'm changing my seat."
yeah, good luck.
He did. He just
Oh, he
defied
did?
them. And here's another thing, and I want to hear your story about the airline.
Okay.
There's a thing called Flight Tracker, and you can track your flight in
Right.
real time. And the
Used
storm.
to use that when I worked at UPI looking for crashes. By the way.
Oh yeah. Well, the storm was so intense that their diversion path, you think of it as circling, but really it looked like a spirograph or one of those early drawings of the atom, with the little,
Yeah.
it was just all over. They flew all over the place trying to find an opportunity. They must have flown, I mean, for all I know, they were circling between Chicago, Milwaukee, Indianapolis, Louisville. I have no idea, but it was the strangest looking holding pattern I'd ever seen in my life. So what happened to you?
Well, what's going to happen to me? Yeah, so I actually read this morning because I don't pay attention to college basketball at all. I'm a football fan.
Really? The spousal
and-
unit is obsessed with college basketball.
Well, the women's NCAA tournament finals are in Phoenix this weekend.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and then we're flying out Saturday, and the big concert party, whatever, is Saturday night, and the final game is Monday. So as if it wasn't going to be already crowded without enough TSA agents and ice everywhere, now we're going to have the NCAA women's basketball fans flying in as we try to fly out.
Well, at least they use deodorant. The men's basketball fans do not use deodorant. I have conducted an informal and unpleasant survey.
Well, we're going to be gone for 4 days, and usually when I'm gone for 4 days, I have to take 2 suitcases, carry on.
And a partridge in a pear tree, I've heard.
Well, my Frankie
Yes.
said, "You
Yes.
think we can fit everything into a carry-on?"
Oh,
both of us.
And did you give him your standard "do you know me" answer?
Well, I did, and then I kind of have taken it as a challenge.
Oh,
I'll let you know how that goes.
I think you'll be in tears.
We'll see. He's packing tonight, and then I get whatever's left.
No, I try to be optimistic, but I don't think you can do. I think that the hair products alone are a suitcase.
Well, you have to remember, I'm going to see my girls, and they have my hair products at the ready for me.
Some people cook your favorite food, chicken soup with matzo balls, and some people lay in a supply
hair
of
products.
whacked out hair products that cost $1 million an ounce.
And tools.
Yeah.
I actually straightened mine with a hot thing. I don't know what you call them.
A hot
A
thing.
straightener.
I
a
think
hot
people know
thing.
what a hot thing
Looks
is.
like tongs.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And Frankie noticed. He doesn't notice anything. And I didn't say, "Look at my hair, I'm so different."
If my husband actually noticed how I looked, that would be the only thing that would make me worry about maybe he was dating someone outside the marriage. Like, that would be so weird. I would wonder. I could waltz around in men's wool socks and a garter belt. Nothing would strike him as odd about that.
Poor Frankie. I can't see him taking anything else on. I think that we're more than enough around here,
I suppose
living
that's
on the family complex.
probably true. Can I just also tell you that we've recently gone through the experience of renting out an apartment? And when our ad says that we allow pets and someone makes a big deal out of the fact that their cat is an emotional support cat, what kind of crazy does that indicate? Because when it comes down to it, what kind of cat is not an emotional support cat? I mean, it's not like it goes on stage and juggles. What the hell
They
else
kill
is,
mice, I guess.
I suppose.
I guess the therapy for me is trying to chase after him 2 times a year when he has to go to the vet.
So let me ask
It's
you.
a physical therapy.
So this person who's kind of loopy that we showed the place to, she seemed reasonable and had a steady job.
Yeah.
I said, "Do you have any pets?" She said, "I have an emotional support cat." And I said, "Well, any kind of cat that you have is really okay." She must have mentioned 5 times that she had a disability. And your point is what? Either you could live here or you can't live here. It's not up to me to decide whether or not you can. Fine. I said, "Okay, well, great." So then 2 days later, she writes something about the size of our water meter, which is like, what? The size of
Does your cat object?
It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. It's just measuring. That's like, how big is your 1-cup measuring cup?
I'm still thinking about an emotional support cat.
Yeah, well, okay. So I said, perhaps you mean you're interested in knowing about the water bill. So I run through the basics of the water bill. And if you want to know more, you can go to the utilities website. In other words, what the heck do I look like? East Bay Mud? Which is the name of the water company in California.
Okay.
Then 2 more days go by, and she sends this long email. She's worried that our listing is 50 feet less than what she has to have in order to be happy. She's seen the place. She's walked around in it, right? She measured with some kind of tile software where you looking at the pictures online and, please prove her wrong. And I'm like, okay, that's enough of this. I am not the judge of whether the place is suitable. You are the judge. If you wanted to measure it, you could have brought a freaking yardstick and measured it. Jesus. So I wrote, "We hope you find just the perfect place. We're not there. We can't measure for you right now. We know you need to have this data to be content. And so we're going to assume your application is withdrawn."
Again, you're so nice.
well,
I would have ghosted.
Here's the thing, though, and here I'm going to look like a really not nice person. It's always the people who tell you that they have the need of this and the special that, and they need to be pampered and coddled, and they don't tell you what it is, right? If someone just said, I need to know whether these stairs are wide enough for a wheelchair, you could take a wheelchair upstairs. That's a fair question. But if you just have some amorphous disability that you're certainly not required to tell me about, but I'm supposed to jump through 17 hoops of fire for your unnamed disability instead of just saying, will this work for this or will that work for that? At a certain point, you just go, you are too much trouble. And if you're this much trouble before you even live in the space.
It's true. You're right. I agree with you, and I am nice. I know. First of all of my animals I consider emotional support animals.
Then you
because they
should.
make me happy.
That's right.
And the only kind of animal that anybody should have to obey laws to or whatever are the service
dogs. I'm fine with an emotional.
Service mini horses.
I am totally can't take those on a plane. I don't care how many little red sweaters you have them in. I'm all down for the emotional support dogs. I have friends who depend on them. I know people with diabetes who have special dogs that smell if their blood sugar is low. I know.
Well, that's not emotional support.
No,
though. That's a working
dog. Any kind of working dog. But what we're looking at here is a bunch of people who have ruined it for the rest of the class. They bought the little vest.
Anyone can go on Amazon and get a vest that says ESA, emotional support animal.
Yeah.
And they've actually started putting up signs in the restaurants saying you cannot bring your emotional support animal in. However, your working dog is more than welcome.
I don't think you could do that in Illinois. I really don't.
You can take a worm off the ground and say, "This is my emotional support worm, Squirmy."
Well, at least that's not going to irritate the other passenger.
If I let him go, it would.
Maybe. Can you get a vest for your worm? Because that seems to be the determining factor. Thank you for listening to the podcast. It's clear you like listening to things, so you might enjoy the audio version of my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. I read the entire darn thing myself. You can download it from Audible. It's not free like the podcast, though, so if you're thrifty, like me, you may still want your public library to order the printed version.